like our last lesson, we're going to take turns reading, but this time we're going to do each page. So I'll read one, then you'll read, and then okay, so today we're going to do something fun. We're going to connect art and writing. So writers paint pictures with words, and artists tell stories with shapes and colors. So today we're going to read the book called The Dot, and then we're going to have you create your own artwork and describe it with words. So have you ever heard of The Dot before? No. So this is what the cover page looks like. So let's observe the picture of the dot. So it's big, it has reds, yellows, and oranges. And at first glance, you might think it's just a circle, but writers look closely and observe what they're looking at. So I also noticed that it takes up the whole page. And it's not perfect, the edges are rough and uneven, which kind of gives it character too. So if I were to write about this dot, I would say the giant red, yellow, and orange dot fills the whole page like a bold stamp trying to grab my attention. So that's the process I want you to remember. I want you to notice, describe, and then add a feeling to it. So later when you create your own dot or your own art, you're going to follow the same steps as what we just worked on right there. So now we're going to read the dot. And just like our last lesson, we're going to take turns reading, but this time we're going to do each page. So I'll read one, then you'll read, and then we'll keep switching. Art class was over, but Vashti sat glued to her chair. Her paper was empty. Vashti's teacher leaned over the blank paper. "Ah, a polar bear in a snowstorm," she said. "Very funny," said Vashti. "I can't draw." Her teacher smiled. "Just make a mark and see where it takes you." Vashti grabbed a marker and gave the paper a good strong jab. "There."
Her teacher took the paper and studied it carefully. She pushed the paper towards Vashti and quietly said, "Now sign it." Vashti took a minute, thought for a minute. "Well, maybe I can't draw, but I can sign my name."
The next week, when Vashti walked into art class, she was surprised to see what was hanging above her teacher's desk. It was the little dot she had drawn, her dot, all framed in swirly gold. Vashti painted and painted a red dot, a purple dot, a yellow dot, a blue dot. I can make a dot better than that. She opened her never-been-used-before set of watercolors and set to work. The blue mixed with the yellow, she discovered that she could make a green dot. Vashti kept experimenting, lots of little dots in many colors.
Vashti even made a dot, not by painting a dot. If I could make little dots, I can make a big dot too. Vashti splashed her colors with a big brush and paper and bigger paper and made big dots.
At the school art show a few weeks later, Vashti's many dots made quite a splash. Vashti noticed a little boy gazing up at her. "You're a really good artist. I wish I could draw," he said. "I bet you can," said Vashti. "Me? No, not me. I can't draw a straight line with a ruler." Vashti smiled. She handed the boy a blank sheet of paper. "Show me." The boy's pencil shook as he drew the line. Vashti stared at the boy's squiggle, and then she said, "Sign it." Great, good job. Okay, so now we're going to think back to the story. From the very beginning, Vashti told us she couldn't draw. But that kind of shows us that she felt unsure of herself and not very confident. By the end of the story though, Vashti was painting big, colorful dots and even showed them in an art show. So she changed a lot. She went from doubtful to confident and creative. So now we're going to focus on her dots. Which dot stood out to you the most?
This one.
Yeah, that's a good choice. So I'm going to describe it with you. So when I think about the small dot that she made on the mirror, I think about how it took up just a small portion of the whole mirror, and it was also dark. So a sentence I could make to describe the dot was the little black dot looked like a stamp pressed hard onto a page. You see how I did that there? So now it's your turn. I want you to make your own dot, but it doesn't have to be fancy. You could make it big or small, neat or messy, dark or light, your dot. So once you're finished, I'm going to have you describe it with words in a sentence. So first just go with the dot. So I'm going to have you write one sentence. The first sentence, you're going to describe what the dot looks like. So maybe shape or size. And then once you've completed that, I'm going to have you write a sentence on comparing it to something, like something it reminds you of. Maybe a ball or something. Okay, good job. Can you read this sentence to me?
My dot is not perfect, but it is medium. It looks like a potato.
That's a really good one. Okay. So we know that Vashti ended up showing her art at the end in the show. And artists always give their artwork a title so people know how to think about it. So that's how we're going to close out today. I want to pretend that you're an artist, and I'm going to have you title it. So maybe the medium ball, or the funny dot, or something like that.
The medium potato.
Okay, that's a good one.